morning, everyone. What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Alex. I'm back. Alright, today we got a very interesting video for you in celebrating Comic Con. So, you guys who love science fiction, this video's for you. Now, some people 3 days ago liked the video of me taking science fiction and some action and mixing it. Some people liked the video, some people did not like the video. That just goes to show you that no matter what you do, no matter how you slice it or dice it, you cannot always satisfy everybody. Not every man or not every woman walking on this planet Earth is going to watch all my videos and get all happy and excited. Some people like horror movies and science fiction, and unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, you have some people who actually hate and despise horror and science fiction because they don't understand it. Not everybody is into science fiction and horror. There's some people that like sports. There's some people that like music. There's some people that are just into reading books. So not everybody is going to, like what I put up. I put up random stuff to see what people like and what people don't like. But by the end of the day, we're just going to keep the gravy train moving and just have fun and kick ass and take names. So if you like science fiction and action, this video's for you. In fact, this video's for everyone, okay? Let me make that very clear. It's for men and for women. Young and old, black or white. It doesn't matter if you like science fiction or action-packed movies or not. It's just for the good joy of entertainment. Don't take things too serious. We're just here to have some fun. Before you know it, the gym will open back up because I can't wait to go back to 24-hour fitness and do my intense cardio and weight training. Before you know it, the movies will open back up. So this is just until things get off and running. So let's get into it and let's have some fun. Alright, the title of the video is called Sex Game, the top 13 greatest science fiction action movies of film and television of all times. We're talking about 13 of the greatest television shows and films that are a mixed genre of science fiction and action with some horror. Not too much, but a little bit. So we're going to put the ones that we put on our list, we're going to put them on the list. All right, coming in at number 13 is Battle Angel tied with Ghost in the Shell. Now, Battle Angel for years was an anime. It was an anime, a comic book, and a video game. And I watched the anime. It had 3 seasons. It had 2 animated movies. And I said, if they ever turn this into a movie, I'll watch it. And fast forward 12 years later, it turned into a live action film. It was like turning the anime into real life. It's futuristic. Everything like the anime. It was just like that, good interpretation, and it was very well received at the box office. And what shocked me more is that Disney actually got the rights to do this, which shocked me. Should they be a sequel? They should be at least 3 films, if not 3 films, a television show. I did make a YouTube video 3 months ago saying if it doesn't get a movie, as in sequels, it should get a television show. It'd be badass. I like the actress who played Lita, because she looks exactly like the character. Like, if you took a picture of the animated character and the actress who played her, you couldn't tell them apart. So you could tell she was made for this role, the action, the backstory, the character, the humanity. She embodied all of that. And you got to say thank you to her because it's hard to find actresses in Hollywood to resemble a character that you see from an anime. And of course, Robert Rodriguez kind of came in and, helped with that production. On the other hand, we have Ghost in the Shell, another anime that was also coming to life. Same thing with this one. This one, it makes you wish that the stuff you see that's futuristic, like, artificial intelligence, you wish something like this would be real. The idea that you could live forever and then you have these badass capabilities. The story of the Major trying to find out, how she got like that. And then she solves crimes and murders. That would be a big help because you could solve a crime a lot faster than it would take 10, 15, 20 years to solve. So from that standpoint, it's something good about Ghost in the Shell. So both these animes come in tied at 13 because why? They are like an insight of what could happen 50 or 100 years into the future. If you watch those movies, that's like a nice way of saying 50 years from now, that's how the future probably would look like. If we look at these animes that have turned into live adoptions of each other. Coming in at number 12 is my all-time favorite, The Predator. The very first Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger is the stuff of legends. No movie after Predator matches its physicality, its intense, and its good storytelling. I mean, there have been sequels that have followed. I mean, there's Predator 2, which is the second best film in the franchise. Then, of course, there's Alien vs. Predators 1 and 2. There's Predators with an S. There's the remake. But none of those films come close to the first film. I mean, the idea that you could be military trained for 10 years, you bring in commandos in South America, and for them to have to be challenged by an alien, a predator that has advanced technology. Well, you can imagine that in the future, if something like that was to happen, it would start like that. You get someone that has highly advanced weapons, and your weapons are no match for it. And the fact that Dutch turned out to be the alpha male who would have to do it all by himself, what I like about the movie is it shows life situations. Like, you always get told by your mom and dad that one day there's going to come a time where you're going to have to do something by yourself, and you can't depend on one. That's what I got from this movie. And the idea that people were kind of shocked that they thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to finally be in a movie where a character would finally get beat was a shock. The fact that he survived after beating the Predator, this turned into a culture icon. There's comic books, video games, comic books, action figures of the Predator, and everyone has their favorite quote from the movie. And it had an all-star cast. You had Jesse Ben-Body de Ventura, a former professional wrestler. You've got Carl's Weather in that movie. You got Bill Duke. I mean, you had an all-star cast in that movie. Of course, Arnold's the main character. And the fact that he survived and the fact that you saw so much action in the movie was incredible. And everybody has their favorite quote from the movie. And sometimes when I watch Predator, I sometimes visualize myself as Dutch. He's big, he's strong, he's powerful, he's brave, he's fearless. He can take on any challenge no matter how great. And when you watch that movie, that's what you feel when you watch that Predator film. Now, Predator 2 was a bit stepped down. And all the films that came after Predator don't even match the physicality or the intensity on what you see on the big screen, because a lot of that has to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger's presence on screen. Everyone inspired to want to be Arnold after seeing the Predator. I mean, he started a franchise, and it's just a shame that he didn't come back to do the highly anticipated sequels that followed. Now, Predators with an S was kind of like a prequel to the first film, Predator, where they tell you the story of what happened from that film. And they ignore the events in Predator 2, obviously. So that's kind of why I say it's a bit of a disappointment. But at the same time, if it weren't for that film, you would have never got sequels in the franchise. It would have been nice if his character could have came back much older to assist the group that would have to take on that same challenge. And he found out what the Predator's weakness was, which was another good thing that made the action-packed movie exciting. They took the idea of some science fiction and some horror, and they mixed in three genres together, and what do you get? You get the Predator. So it's one of those movies guys will watch to get pumped up, but my advice to you fellas, do not take your girlfriend to the movies to go see the Predator, because if she don't like horror movies and if she don't like, that type of movie, don't be surprised if she runs out of the movie theater and don't want to watch it. It's the type of movie you might want to watch with your friends to get pumped up before going to the gym. So I would call this a gym movie. It's the type of movie that if I want to get pumped up like Arnold, I'm going to watch The Predators. It's a movie for guys. It's not really a movie for women, because women don't want to look at The Predator because, like Arnold Schwarzenegger said in the movie, I quote, "You one ugly mother, you know what." I'm trying to keep this as PG as I can, okay? So that's why I like The Predator. Coming in at number 11 is the television show The Flash. Now, I told you before that television shows like The Flash is lighthearted. It's kid-friendly. And if it weren't for shows like Seven Heaven, you would have never got a television called The Flash. It's like Seven Heaven all over again because it's got the family qualities. The idea that you could have all these problems and you get a mentor who comes in and gives you the advice on how to handle those problems. Like you look at Reverse Flash. He's the main villain, but then he's also helping out the main hero, which is something you don't ever expect any supervillain to ever do. The fact that the guy has powers to time travel to the past, present, and future is very unpredictable. The fact that this deals with a lot of science fiction is why it's on here. So it's superheroes, action, drama, with a little twist of some horror. Because when you hear the theme song of Reverse Flash, you know it's going to be horrifying. You know, the idea that a tormenting figure can come into your room and scare the bejesus out of you, and then for you to want to become the Flash. If you could get those powers, the things you would do as the Flash, all of us would try to go time travel and stop some bad event that happened to us when we were in high school or college. A lot of us would say, I'll go back to when I first got rejected by a girl, if I could do things different. You always say to yourself, if I only knew what I know right now, I would have went back to when I was in high school and college and told myself the things on what to do and what not to do. That's what the television show Flash is a representation of. If I could go back to the past, what could I fix? What could I undo? What have I done that I should have not done? A lot of us regret some of our choices in life. Some of us regret going to the wrong high school, the wrong college. Some of us regret the things that we do now and wish that if I had Flash's powers, I would fix a lot of those things. But at the same time, I like The Flash because it's also a consequence show. What I mean by a consequence television show, it shows the consequences of what happens if you go back in time and you try to fix something. You might mess something up in the future. So yeah, we regret the things that we've done, but at the same time, if we had Flash's powers, we also learn the consequences of having power. So it takes you in different directions. Everybody has their favorite season. My favorite season is season 1 because you get to see what those consequences are when you get those powers. Season 2 just shows the result of consequences. Season 3 just shows what happens when you become your worst enemy. And season 4 is learning how to persevere through challenges. Like the Testament was the Thinker challenging the Flash. Season 5 was the Flash realizing that the only way to fix problems is to never have them occur in the first place, which every season shows how he deals with challenges as he gets better and he gets older. Season 6 is just a continuation. So that's why I like the television show The Flash. It is science fiction. It is a superhero genre with action and drama compelling, and it is a family show because it has a lot of the ingredients and the elements of being a family. This is something you probably would watch if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas holiday. So it's the complete opposite of the Arrow. You know, it's light. The Arrow's dark, Flash is light. So it's like a nice example. You want to be light, not dark. Coming in at number 10 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes, I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just as much as I like the Power Rangers. See, before the Power Rangers came and dominated the 1990s, somewhere in the mid-80s, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did. Just the idea that you can have 4 turtles learn ninjutsu and then become ninjas is badass. It inspired a lot of us to go take karate classes. It inspired us to become a Ninja Turtle. We would always put on the headbands. You either thought you were Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, and you would actually inspire to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and want to kick some ass. If you're Michelangelo, you would say Cowabunga. If you're Raphael, you saw yourself as the Alpha Ninja Turtle. You know, and if you were Leonardo, you saw yourself as the veteran leader that was held responsible for your actions. If you were Donatello, you were the highly intellectual Ninja Turtle that was into science. And he made all their tech, so it made sense that each Ninja Turtle had its own personality. Raphael wanted to be the alpha Ninja Turtle. Michelangelo was your party Ninja Turtle. And Leonardo was your more brave, fearless Ninja Turtle. And Donatello was more of your science tech Ninja Turtle that was into gadgets and computers and science and wanted to know more about the mystery of how they became Ninja Turtles. And of course, you have Master Splinter, and the idea that you could fight a samurai better known as the Shredder, one of the most powerful villains in the Ninja Turtle universe, it was incredible. So if you think about it, if it weren't for Ninja Turtles, you probably would have never gotten Power Rangers, VR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs, Super Samurai. See, it was Ninja Turtles that gave birth to the Power Rangers. Now, I know a lot of Power Ranger fans are going to say BS, I disagree with that, but you got to think about it. Ninja Turtles came in the 80s, Power Rangers came in the 90s, and before we all started taking karate classes because of Power Rangers, it was actually Ninja Turtles that made you want to go take a karate class. And a lot of us visualized yourselves as Raphael, Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo. And then, of course, Mr. Splinter would be the one to discipline us if we came late to class. We thought we were Ninja Turtles. Can't have a list without Ninja Turtles, right? All right, coming at number 9 is the Power Rangers. Now, the Power Rangers dominated the 1990s. In my last video, they were tied at number 1 with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. A lot of us saw ourselves as the characters on television. You know, a lot of us saw ourselves as Jason, the Red Ranger, because he was the leader. He was the responsible one. A lot of us thought we was Zack because we had them nice dance moves and we can get on the dance floor. A lot of us thought that we were Billy because Billy had some personality that reminded us of what? Donatello, because he was the highly intellectual Power Ranger. And then, of course, Jason would eventually get moved to the side, and Tommy Oliver became the main Power Ranger we all wanted to imitate because he was all of that. He was the alpha, he was intellectual, he was brave, he was fearless, and he became the main character after that. And we all just could not wait to turn on the TV set and watch Power Rangers. We would always imitate Jason the Red Ranger when he took out his power morpher. It's morpher time! Tyrannosaurus! We would actually do that. Now, today, if you're in your 30s or 40s, you probably won't say it's morphin' time because it now sounds childish. You're an adult now. If you got a girlfriend or if you're dating women, you don't want the woman to go, oh my God, he's just like my kid brother. All he likes is Power Ranger. But you do remember it because it's a part of your childhood. Everyone thought there was a Power Ranger. The girls thought they were the Pink Ranger, the Yellow Ranger. What women did when they saw the Pink Ranger is that they would start taking ballet classes. So it was good for Amy Jo Johnson because she inspired a lot of women to pursue their passion. Same thing with Trina, God rest her soul, rest in peace. The Yellow Ranger got people to want to go take acting classes. So the Power Rangers and on the TV show inspired us in real life to take on our passions, our dreams, our pursuits. So I would probably call Power Rangers a science fiction / action drama, but I would call it a dream television show, inspiration show, because they decided to use that to motivate you. Think about it. That show had a lot of inspiration. You would see them take on their dreams and the challenges of those dreams, and it also showed you what happens when you took your dreams and try to turn them into real life. They don't always go according to plan. So if it weren't for the Power Ranger television show, I don't think any of us would be trying to do martial arts, acting, or trying to pursue our dreams, because after all, that is a concept on what if you had powers and what would you do with them. And this show shows what if it's like the way I would say explain Power Rangers, they're like a cross between Ninja Turtles and what if you made Star Wars into a television show and you had characters like this. You would probably get the Power Rangers. So I would probably say the Power Rangers is like the grandchild of Star Wars. I'm just trying to explain to you how this show is. Now, you look at the show today, and it's coming back because it's for a new generation. So you can see why Power Rangers have a big impact. All right, coming at number 8 is The Matrix. Now, The Matrix was supposed to become the next Star Wars phenomenon. A lot of people were comparing The Matrix to Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, because it was science fiction. It was the science fiction age, man. Everybody was dying for the next supernatural or the next science fiction fix, and Matrix was that fix. Now, that first film was unpredictable. It was action packed. It embodied what science fiction was, the possibilities of the future. If you could take advanced technology and go to a virtual world, what would you do in that virtual world? And Matrix was that virtual world. It gave you a chance to go from having a boring, dull life to being whatever you want it to be. The Matrix embody that. And to have Neo be the chosen one, when you watch the movie, a lot of us believe we were the chosen one. We believe we was Neo. I could fly. I got powers. I got telekinesis. And the idea that you can get the girl like the way you dream. Most of us dream. We don't ever get the girl that we dream about. We get rejected like 15, 20 times, right, fellas? And the Matrix kind of showed what would happen if you could dream and actually have things become reality. And the fact that Neo was doing things that were impossible just made you go, I wish I could be like Neo. Now, the first movie was good. The second one was better than the first film. Now, I know what everyone's going to say. The third one just didn't live up to expectations. But with the announcement of Matrix 4, it's a chance to right that wrong. So you can see it's popular after 10 years. They're bringing it back with a fourth film, which should answer the question, what happened to Neo at the end of the third film? So that's why we have to have the Matrix film on this list. Can't have a thing called science fiction of action-packed television and film without mentioning the Matrix, right? I know there's some Matrix fans of this franchise. Coming at number 7 is Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers is science fiction if you think about it, because the idea of them taking the science, the idea of the Infinity Stones, before we see the main villain try to get the Infinity Gauntlet, the movie embodies so much science fiction that it was 50% science fiction and 50% superhero, because it took a concept that was there for 20 years and nobody thought Kevin Feige could make this thing work. You know, you bring in Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Incredible Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and you get Marvel's Avengers. The idea that each one got their film first before putting the group together and then deciding that Loki was going to be the main villain is the perfect film. You bring in Joss Whedon, the best director you can find, and he makes a great masterpiece. And the fact that they took the blend of superhero action and magic with the element of science fiction made it one of the best superhero films of all times. Now, it followed by sequels. Now, we know the second one doesn't live up to the expectations of the first film. Everybody loves Avengers Infinity War. Endgame, again, it went back to what you expect from the first Avengers films. It was 50% science fiction with some action of being a superhero drama. So it took 4 different genres and blended them very well. And you can't have a list without including the Avengers. Because if it weren't for the Avengers, people would not be trying to play basketball and football and see themselves as the characters from the movies. So this was pretty good to do. And to this very day, I don't think no Marvel movie comes close to this than maybe Avengers Endgame, maybe Captain America Civil War, maybe Winter Soldier, maybe the first Iron Man film can kind of come onto the same level and surpass. If any film can kind of surpass that, you would probably be looking at Captain America Civil War. Might be the only film that can kind of get to the same level and maybe surpass just slightly. Some of y'all agree, some of y'all disagree. Coming in at number 6 is Back to the Future. Oh yeah, we can't have a list without Back to the Future. It's Back to the Future. That first movie answered every question about time travel. The idea that you could make a DeLorean, a car that takes you further back to where you want to go. You want to go to the day of World War One or World War Two, this car would do it. You want to go way into the future, this car would do it. The idea that Marty could be the guy that takes us on that journey and Doc is the one that would help him do it, that was incredible. You know, for years, people always wondered, if I can go back in time, how would I be done? This whole movie is science fiction because there were events that you want change, and this would change those events. To me, all the time travel movies that came after Back to the Future were just copycats, rip-offs. They didn't come close to the concept, and Back to the Future kind of did something that no one thought would be possible. And it's a Steven Spielberg classic, by the way. I mean, come on, that first Back to the Future movie, everyone dreamed of, if I had a car, that's the car I would have. Think about if you could pull up in your high school or your college or at your job with that badass car. You get the hot chicks, you get the respect from the guys, and the car could fly too. I mean, that's a badass car. When we got to Back to the Future 2, he was able to make the car do things that it didn't do in the first film. And then to finish the trilogy off with the third movie was incredible. That's 3 movies. It had a cartoon, it had a television series, comic books, toys, graphic novels, action figures. It's that big of a deal to a lot of us. People who didn't even see the first 2 films, when they see the third film, it makes them want to go back and watch the other films. And 30 years later, it still stands to the test of time. If they made a Back to the Future 4 as a reunion with Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. White, I'd be ready to watch it. You reboot it, still have Michael J. White in it. I mean, think about it. You could make it where it's his grandson's son that's trying to go back in time to meet Marty when Marty first saw this invention. That's what I love about Back to the Future. Yeah, they took the idea of some comedy, some science fiction, and some action, and they blended it together. You know, comedy, because Christopher Lloyd is very comical in this thing. Great Scott! You know, you memorize all the lines of him. You know, it's one of his best movies to date. If you don't watch anything else, watch Back to the Futures 1, 2, and 3. There's some good films. They are so good that this is the only franchise that has never had to get a reboot. Now, some people want to see a 4th film. Some people want to see a reboot. It actually can happen. All you have to do is just tell Steven Spielberg what you want. I mean, this is on the same level as Indiana Jones, okay? This is like, what if you took that concept of time travel and you embody what time travel should look like? Back to the Future answers those questions. All right, coming in at number 5 is RoboCop, tied with the Highlander television show. Now, RoboCop is what if you became part man, part cybernetic, and you found a new way to fight crime. RoboCop would be that way you would fight crime. Police officers would have a reason to now be able to do what they couldn't do from before. Like, just imagine in another 20 years what you think's going to happen. RoboCop might be that answer to that question. I mean, that might do things in a different light. A cop that's 24 hours, RoboCop was good. They took the idea of action, drama, and science fiction, and it's RoboCop. You get like RoboCop 1, 2, 3, 4. You get a RoboCop reboot. So you end up getting like 5 movies of RoboCop, a television show, cartoons, comic books, action figures, video games. He's been around for 30 years. You know, you get RoboCop versus Predator, RoboCop versus Aliens. You know, you get RoboCop taking on the Terminator in the video game. At that time, it was so huge. To this day, I still would love for the studios to figure out how to bring that to the big screen. If you can do Jason versus Freddy, Alien versus Predator, why can't you do a full live action movie of RoboCop versus Terminator? I mean, that would be so damn... I mean, the one thing that can actually bring the Terminator franchise back to the forefront is if you do RoboCop versus Terminator, but you got to do it in the way that's clever, unpredictable, and badass. People will line up to go watch it. I mean, that's how you can do it. I mean, you can find a way to make people watch those movies. Or if you wanted to do a crossover, you could take either Battle Angel or Ghost in the Shell, and you can do a crossover with RoboCop. Any one of those would be good to boost up the character. And you see, they bringing RoboCop back. Obviously, they're going to do another RoboCop film. It makes sense to have RoboCop on here. On the other hand, we have the Highlander television show. The idea that you could be immortal, you can live forever, and have powers. Now, this was kind of a new concept because they took the idea of horror, of supernatural, with science fiction and action and drama, took 6 different genres, put them together, and then have a guy that's 400 years old called Duncan MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod, and he's the Highlander. The fact that you took Queen's Walk song for the theme intro was badass. Here we are, joy of the immortals of the rest of history. Doom, doom, I'm immortal. I have no rivals. It's like when they did that, he's got a badass samurai sword. I'm talking about the actor Adrian Paul with the ponytail, badass samurai sword. And the fact that he would do that is rewarding. Television show got 6 seasons. And the fact that he would have to live for 400 years with different identities, move around to different cities. Every time he fought an immortal, he got a headache, which alerted him to danger. And then he had to fight the immortal, and every time he won, he got their powers. That was a concept that no one had never seen before. There's the movies, and then there's the television show of Highlander. And if anything got over with fans, it was the Highlander television show, where the movies didn't always give you what you expected. The television show went a different direction. It kind of showed you good immortals, bad immortals. The movies did too, but the show kind of got to why these immortals are immortal and what is the whole deal. Whereas the movies is about being the hero versus the villain, television show kind of dealt with the consequences of trying to become immortal. So you have to kind of like understand how this whole complexity goes. So now we get to number 4. Tied at number 4 is Terminator and Aliens. Now you probably might be spitting out your Coca-Cola, your Pepsi, your Mountain Dew, Sprite, 7-Up, nobody drinks Sierra Mist, apple juice, orange juice, coffee, tea, or water, or Kool-Aid, whatever it is that you drink. You're probably spitting down going, Terminator and Aliens tied at number 4? Yes, they're tied at number 4. Both are big-ass franchises. Both were directed by James Cameron. Both went off to get sequels. One had Linda Hamilton as the main character. The other one had a female character. Both women led these franchises. And this was the era in the mid-'80s that science fiction accepted women being heroes. They would not let women become heroes in westerns. They would not let women become heroes in action-packed movies. But when it came to horror and science fiction, women got their chance to say we can kick ass on the big screen. And these 2 movies actually became the 2 movie franchises that said it's okay to let women kick ass and take names and throw down in this bitch. Terminator for me was, what if we lived in a distant future and when you picked up the cell phone, you didn't hear the voice of a human being, you heard the voice of artificial intelligence.